Lamar Jackson got himself a absolutely record-breaking contract, and the details I don't quite have in front of me right now, but they've also made a lot of moves this offseason. Yesterday, they signed Rocky Ya-Sin to a contract I do know the details of, 1 year, $6 million, dollars, and Odell Beckham Jr. to a deal that is upwards to $18 million dollars if he plays up to a certain level this year. And then in the draft, they take Zay Flowers, taking a swing, adding to this offense. And I think adding in Todd Monken as your offensive coordinator to replace Greg Roman, there is a difference now in Baltimore. Everything Lamar Jackson wanted, he's now got. Are there any excuses for Lamar with a top five defense, a proven Super Bowl winning head coach, and a roster that is ready to compete in the AFC? I say no. The question, though, is that I've been really always asking myself for years now, as Brandon has talked about, running oriented quarterbacks that are reliant on that playmaking with their legs don't have a big track record when it comes to winning Super Bowls. Well, Lamar Jackson, with this new 5 year earth shattering extension, the most in the NFL currently, win a Super Bowl for the Baltimore Ravens.
So just to touch on the contract, 5 years, 260 million, 185 million guaranteed, annual salary of 52 million. So, yeah, shout out Lamar. I know we haven't spoke about it yet. He got his contract. He got his money. Um, Again, I think it was always about the guaranteed money. He wanted the Deshaun Watson. And then once Jalen signed his contract, I think that really helped out. There were rumors that once Jalen signed, the Ravens were like, all right, let's step up our offer. And then they offered him the money. And Lamar would have been a fool not to take it. So he took the money, and that's great for him. Um, can the Baltimore Ravens win a Super Bowl? If Lamar is healthy, I give them a good shot, right? And I know I've been the person that running quarterbacks can't win a Super Bowl, but I gave the caveat if he's healthy. He has not been healthy. So it's kind of hard for me to project that. The Ravens made great moves to make him happy. They drafted Zay Flowers. They signed OBJ. They drafted Rashad Bateman in the first round 2 years ago, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got Mark Andrews. There's no more excuses, Lamar. You got your money. You got paid. You got the weapons. No more excuses, buddy. There's no more, I don't got the help. They against me. Yada, yada, yada. No, 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 no. It's time to show up. And if you get injured again, I swear to God, if people start pointing the finger at OBJ, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, John Harbaugh, John, I swear to God, you point at Harbaugh with the OC. No more. No more. It is on you, Lamar. You are a former MVP of this league. You have shown you can do it. Go do it again. You get injured again, I'm sorry. My finger is going to be pointed directly at you because they gave you what you wanted. They made you happy. They gave you your money. They did all the blah, blah, blah. Time to produce. Time to produce.
Yeah, it is time to produce. And, I was high on this Baltimore team last year, and I'll go into the season just as high on them. But at the end of the day, it's on Lamar. It is not on anybody else. You have the roster. The roster is well constructed to benefit you and everything that you do well. Added some explosive receivers now on the outside to pair with the Duvernay and Bateman. And you got one of the best tight ends in the league in Mark Andrews. If you're healthy, this Baltimore team goes a long way. Now, if we revert back to old habits and durability concerns start to show up, this Baltimore team is going to be in the same place they were last year. They'll get to the playoffs because Lamar did just enough, and they'll just let you down. Lamar needs to be on the field for this Ravens team to succeed. That is the ultimate. That's the big, big ingredient in this pot right now. If you don't have this, it's not going to look good. I love that they're finally investing in this guy, and I love that they're getting him the receivers. And I'm a big Lamar guy. I do believe running quarterbacks can win Super Bowls. I understand the history doesn't really show it, but what we saw with Jalen Hurts last year, what we've seen lately with all these quarterbacks, it's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. Lamar, and I really hope it's him. I really do hope it's him. I think looking at the AFC North, they always field a competitive team. I know I'm one to jump to conclusions, and I could jump the gun early. Last year, I had Baltimore winning the division, and they only lost out by one game.
Give or take. But I do want to say that, listen, Another thing. If he does it, or if a running quarterback does win a Super Bowl, I do not want to hear, "Oh, it's proven, it can be done. Book it. The book is closed." No, because that is going to be the outlier. That is going to be the exception to the rule. They have to show consistently they can do it. So I just want to put that out there into the ether, into the universe. Just because you do it once doesn't mean it's the rule. All right, dead clock is right twice a day, as my boy Stephen A. likes to say.
Justin, Lamar has a shocking statistic, a truly shocking Lamar Jackson statistic. Is that in the last 2 years in December, he has finished one game. His play has steadily dipped in November. And much like Josh Allen, a guy that I've always defended in the past, when you perennially don't get better in November, the colder months, after Thanksgiving, is when I start to put a red flag on you as a playoff contender. But the Ravens' ceiling was unlocked this year in the offseason for the playoffs to win a Super Bowl. A year ago, they were one play away from beating the Bengals without Lamar being on the field. He hadn't played in a month. And they took the Bengals down to the wire on the road in Cincinnati. And if it weren't for one singular, insanely, one of the craziest goal line plays I've seen in recent memory, that was basically a 10 to 14 point swing, they beat Joe Burrow without Lamar Jackson in a playoff game. They were this close to that in a game that was in their grasp. I don't think we praise this Ravens defense enough. They just had Rocky Sin, who's going to replace Marcus Peters, who is a free agent. You kind of forget he's not on the team nowadays, but that was their last need, I felt like, for Baltimore. A second cornerback. If Rocky Sin can play at a remotely adequate starter level, they're going to be maybe a top 3 defense. And they have the chance with this linebacker tandem that they've got locked up, Roquan Smith and Patrick Queen, to be an even better group. This is a team that's invested one first-round pick after another. This could be the best defense in the AFC if they stay healthy. So Lamar has one of the best supporting cast in the league. This was a run-oriented team heavily. Now this year, we're going to see more balance, more dynamic passing concepts, and we're going to really find out, is Lamar a top 10 passer or is he a top 15? That's a pretty noticeable gap. But there's also one more thing with Baltimore. It's that there's really a ton of pressure on this team. And when I look at the AFC North guys, what it kind of reminds me of is when you go to maybe you go to a pet store, right? And there's like 4 cute dogs, right? And only one of them can be taken, right? And they all want to get out. They all want to get out. They all want to go to a home. It's kind of what I look at. Like, that's how I see the AFC North. There's 4 different teams that can all win it. Every single season, I feel like we say this. The Bengals are a top 3 team in the league. The Ravens are not far off now. The Browns, everybody's praised because they have a really good roster and a quarterback that 2 years ago was a top 5 player at quarterback. And the Steelers, I think, had the best draft in the NFL, and they were already a perennial 9-win team. Imagine what they can do with Mike Tomlin and a second-year quarterback taking some steps forward. If the Steelers are the worst team in the division, or the Browns, I mean, the Ravens are in an absolute doomsday scenario where you're a contender, but this is a rock fight every year. You're lucky to get 11 wins in this division, and all of these teams, when they face injuries, are going to have a death gauntlet on their schedule. They have to play 6 playoff teams already.